But the difference was that Funaki and Suzuki wanted to have it be 100% legitimate, 100% shoot. Hence the name, Shoot Pro Wrestling. So your brother Ken started first, and as I understand it, there's the gentleman here that's coaching, Joe Malenko, who the fans will know. His brother Dean Malenko showed Ken a tape of the UWFI, and then he went to UWFI and then to Pancras. How did he bring you into the organization? Because I don't even know that myself.
Yeah, well, that's actually a really good question. Well, I was technically in prison when the whole thing started, so I was doing something else with my life. But Ken and I shared the same dad, Bob Shamrock. He adopted us both, and we were both in the group home. And so even though I screwed up my life and went to prison, he continued to counsel me, mentor me, and encourage me to develop my body, my mind, and my spirit. And he would come and visit me and say, "Oh, this new thing started. It's called the UFC." I'd be like, "What is that?" And we don't have TV. You don't watch. We couldn't see it happening because it wasn't on television. So I was informed of all these progressions. Like, hey, now it's pro wrestling, but now it's stiff pro wrestling, and now we're going to try this. And so the fascinating part was when I got into fighting, I had no idea what fighting was about. I knew what professional wrestling was because I was a fan of professional wrestling. I watched it, Hulk Hogan era. I was, a young kid consuming this and seeing the performances. So when my dad was telling me, they're doing it for real now. They're fighting it. Like all this stuff, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. Like, I didn't realize it was actually a thing until I got out. And then I tried out for the Lions Den, and then I became a fighter. It was like, day one, I was a professional fighter. But Pancrase had such an advanced mindset. Like they had already gone through the professional wrestling area. They'd already gone through they've already gone through all these different phases. And so what they were trying to do was get the realest combative wrestling you could get, like as real as you can get. And we go to the gentleman's rules. Like you wouldn't break a dude's leg if you had him in a good hold, because you got to fight 6 weeks later. It doesn't make sense, because his teammate's going to break your leg. Because why would you do that? Because we're all trying to perform. So they were trying to find that new model where you could perform all the time, have great, exciting, engaging performances, but not really get banged up.
And they used the rope breaks, right?
Yeah, the rope breaks. They were like magic.
Yeah.
Because if you understood the game, you could get someone to expend a lot of energy on something.
Yeah.
And so you could, you could tease them into, applying all this energy, and then you just grab the rope and minus 1 point, and you get back up and you start clubbing the guy. So it was a real psychological game. It took me a while to get, to kind of get a hold of. Because Japanese knew what they were doing. They'd be like, yeah, pull on my leg, pull on my leg. Like 30 seconds later, they would grab the rope, right? And you're all tired from pulling on the leg. So yeah, the gamesmanship of it was really fascinating.
Yeah, so Shoot Pro Wrestling, this weekend we have the tournaments on the mat. We have the under 80 kilogram and over 80 kilogram, and then the wild one, the tag team. But in the events we've done in the past with Shoot Pro, the ones we did in Denver, were all in the ring. And we've had rope breaks. So similar to the Pancras, the pro wrestling rules. And I'll tell you, just like Frank said, when you're watching this thing, guys are expending tremendous energy to get a takedown. Or they're hooking a lock and they're working it hard. And then all you do is grab the ropes. And he's expended all that energy. So it adds a whole nother level of psychology to it, to how you compete, to how you perform. So Shoot Pro Wrestling, we should tell fans, we had an event in South Dakota with my dear friend Pat Miletich, his MMA promotion. And that event was Higgins versus Auk in the cage. And that was our cage match. So it was on an MMA show. And we're going to go back there and have the rematch with those guys. Brandon Riggins, I recruited him. He wrestled at my alma mater. He actually was coached by a gentleman that I coached, Charlie Vlado, and he did great. And he won. He made us proud. But it was very close. Very close. And we feel like Blade Hawk deserves a rematch. But that's going to be in the cage. So in the cage, obviously, there's no rope breaks. So what we bring to you with the Shoot Pro Wrestling is we bring you so much excitement because it's always different. Whenever you're watching UFC, it's always the same. With us, it's different. We've got the tag teams. We're going to do an Iron Man match. Check this out, everybody.
Yes.
We're going to do Iron Man. 60 minutes, most falls wins. Just imagine that. Just imagine. It's a different type of athlete.
There's some Broadways out there. They used to call it back in the day. The old Ric Flair 60-minute Broadway.
Oh, yeah. And And we're not and this is all shooters. Everybody's coming from the amateur wrestling ranks. We've got some All-American wrestlers competing tomorrow, coming from the MMA cage. Shoot Pro Wrestling is, man, I'm so excited. And I'm so excited to have our new chairman.